It's really inky twilight. But I saw a shape, and the figure turned to me, and I reached out and took him by the arm, and I said, Ella, in Greek. I said, come, in Greek. Hearing Greek and hearing me speak in the familiar, he then said, Esise. He was very, very shocked. And he took a step back. Ma eprepe, should you have? And I thought, man, this is not the time to discuss whether I should have or not. Now let's get out of here.
Η χώρα διήρχετο μίαν κρίση, αναζητούσα διέξοδον εξ ενός πολιτικού αδιεξόδου εις το οποίο είχε εισέλθει. Ο εθνικός στρατός όφιλε να παρέμβει για να αποτρέψει των δρόμων προς τον κρυμνόν.
My name is Elias Kouloukoundi. I'm a writer and a shipowner of a family of shipowners from the island of Kassos. In the 1960s and 70s, I opposed the Greek dictatorship and took part in the resistance against it, even though a lot of Greeks abroad were willing to let the country lose its liberty to avoid the risk of a left-wing government getting into power. In April 1967, 3 colonels, backed by the U.S., staged a coup and declared martial law in Greece. They used a NATO plan designed to counter an attempted communist takeover in a European country. There was no threat of a communist takeover, but the colonels used that as an excuse to arrest their political opposition. George Milonas, as a center-left politician and Minister of Education in the overthrown government, was arrested and exiled to Amorgos, a remote island in the southeast Aegean. I was married to his daughter, Eleni, and we were allowed to visit him in exile. In 1969, the Scandinavian countries and the Netherlands brought a case against the colonels for human rights abuses. The Americans were embarrassed, and there were rumors that they were ready to back a coalition government under the conservative former Prime Minister Karamanlis. As Andreas Papandreou, the left-wing firebrand, would not join such a coalition, there was a need for a politician of the center-left, so I wanted to help Milonas escape. But there was no way for me to know what would happen. The house, as you can see, is a very nice house. And it hasn't been changed really substantially since those days. This is where we had breakfast, around this table. The living room is this way. But it's very quiet here. If you were here day after day, really without being able to talk to anybody, I think it would be unnerving. It's a peculiar form of imprisonment. He used to sit at his desk and read with a blanket over him and his hands under the blanket, and took his hands out only to turn the pages. And the other aspect of it, which was even harder to take, was that he was in isolation here. Nobody was really allowed to talk to him, and if anybody did, they got into trouble. The barber, who was a left-winger, was very friendly to him at first, and after that first haircut, the barber was invited to the police station, and I think he was beaten. So the second haircut, he cut his hair and didn't talk. So you see, we're on the balcony of his house, and there is the castro of Hora, which was where the medieval Amorgos built their houses around the castle to be protected from pirates. And as you can see from this place, they could see anybody approaching. And you see the mills on the top of that hill, and just below the mills was the police station, which meant that as soon as he came outside on his balcony, he was visible from the police. The toilet is off the courtyard, and just to go to the bathroom, he'd have to come out here, go down the steps. And the police, watching from across the valley, would see him come out on the balcony and see him go down the steps, and they would, like as not, wait for him to appear and go back up the steps. So they had him in their sights all the time. It was not an easy life. I remember this was where I first asked him if he wanted to escape. He looked at me and didn't say a word. But that afternoon we went for a walk, and we got to the top of the hill, and then the wind hit us right in the face, and suddenly down below we could see the sea. And he said to me then, "There's a way down from here." And I said, "How do you know?" He said, "The barber told me once when I was having a haircut." And after he said that, I knew he was now on board. Για την Αρκισίνη, από πού θα πας?
Αρκισίνη είναι ή αυτός εδώ ο δρόμος,
Ναι.
ο οποίος θα σε βγάλει στην άσφαλτο και συνεχίζεις, θα σε βγάλει πάνω στο παλιό μονοπάτι. Το οποίο τώρα είναι άσφαλτος όμως. Σε ορισμένα σημεία έχει πέσει άσφαλτος πάνω στο παλιό μονοπάτι.
Ευχαριστώ πολύ.
Να είσαι καλά, να είσαι καλά.
Καλημέρα.
On the day when we were planning the escape, he was in very good mood, and he started singing, "I'll take the high road and you take the low road." So let's take the low road. When I first met him, I was very taken with him. And I immediately, I would think, admired him. And that, of course, led me later to want to rescue him. What started to happen in this house, as his daughter and I visited him, were things which I was not even totally aware of at the time. I think I did things which annoyed him. Mostly, I think what annoyed him was that I was an independent person. I was, in fact, financially independent, and he could not accept that he'd been rescued by the son of a ship owner. Why did I help him escape? Because I was an ornery bugger, and I didn't like dictatorship. And I realized that I had a way of giving them one in the eye. And this was a way. And I felt you can't move the world, but whatever comes into your little world that you can do something about, you ought to do it. So I did, and I also liked adventure.